And then I just thought, that when you go into anything in the private sector, that it's going to be a competition, but maybe not necessarily a competition for a team, because you're coming from this team background in the military. And then I thought people were going to keep me at arm's length when I got into publishing, and it was going to be very difficult. And it was the exact opposite. Exact opposite has been true. And people have welcomed me with open arms, and it's been incredible. But on that call, you told me one thing that helped so much. And you said, give yourself permission to write a bad chapter. And for whatever reason, that freed me up from this worry of, hey, what if this chapter is not good enough as you're going along, and to have that be okay. Like, it was fun. If it's not good, hey, you know what? You can edit. It's not like you're on the battlefield making a decision, and if you make a bad one, people are going to die. You can sleep on it. You can come back the next day.
You can't edit what hasn't been written. And that actually, it's funny, the similarities between you and me, as far as, I had family in Coronado. You obviously spent a ton of time down there with the SEAL teams. I ended up in Park City for 8 years. My kids were born just down in Salt Lake. When we moved from Park City to Chicago, my wife was the doc for the U.S. ski team, and she had a chance to go back and be a doc for the Bulls and the White Sox in Chicago. And we wanted to be closer to our families in the Midwest. So we moved back, and I moved into a house. See, you're going through a move now, that the renovations weren't complete. And I was writing this intense book. I was writing Takedown at the time, and I was having a lot of writer's block. And that piece of advice I gave you was the first time I'd ever had any writer's block. It was just so much pressure and so many things going on. And I found that piece of advice in people who know writing quotes will know who said it. But it was I believe it was a woman who's an author who said, give yourself permission to write a shitty first draft. And that can be, you can break that down to just a crummy chapter, because you're right. You can come back to it the next day, but you can't edit what hasn't been written. So there's that other thing that said, if the tap's not open, the water don't flow, right? So you got to sit down at your desk and open the tap.
Oh yeah. And whatever that gave me, that gave me this freedom to sit down and write it, and lifted a huge weight off my shoulders as I was going forward. So hearing that from you was helped me so much along this path. So I try to pass that on to other people when they ask me about advice. And also, what was great when I was coming in is that I didn't have a Facebook account. I didn't have an Instagram account. I didn't have any of that sort of thing yet as a distraction, because I was still in the
military. As a SEAL, you don't set this up? You don't do that as a SEAL?
They might now in third phase. It's possible. It's possible, along with the writing classes and the interview technique courses and that sort of thing. But yeah, back then.
Look at this guy I caught planting a bomb next to the side of the road and giving him noogies on your Instagram.
Quick, get a selfie. Document it. But it's so different today that I think people would be thinking about that sort of thing a lot more. Whereas I just had to think about the book. And I think in that call, you also told me that, hey, for nonfiction, you can sell a chapter, you can sell an idea, that sort of thing. For fiction, it has to be done. And so when I talk to people today, that's what I tell them. Hey, get it done. Don't worry about marketing. Don't worry about a website. Don't worry about any of that thing. Get it to be the best that it can possibly be. And then move on to that next stage and find that agent, find that publisher, whatever you're going to do from there. But get it done. And that's the other thing you told me when I called you back a year later. This was the best part, because I was done. Like, I made my time. I made my first deadline. It's like the day before I called you. Boom, it's done, Brad. And then you said, hey, is it as good as you can possibly make it? And I said, well, I could probably go back and read it a couple times, maybe edit it a little bit. And you said, okay, call me back when it is as good as you can possibly make it. So I spent the rest of that summer, late spring through the summer to the fall, getting it as good as I could possibly be. I got it to that point where if I worked on it for another 40 years, it would get better by a degree.
Nobody noticed the difference. Yeah,
exactly. So, because you could do that. People could keep doing that forever and making it better. And yeah, they probably would make their manuscript better if they spent another 40, 50, 60 years on it, but by a degree, and then you're never getting published. So you got to get it out there and get it to that point where you're comfortable and you are happy with it. And then I called you back and said, it's as good as I could possibly make it. And you said, all right, let's do this.